Sweet cheesy music.
It's a nice groove.
If in doubt, that R&B, Hendrixy, vibey thingy, whatever.
Yeah.
Hello, Mike Bradley. I hope you're doing well as always. And I'm with, well, some bloke I just found, Mr. Pete Thorn.
What's up, folks?
Everyone's here. There's about 3 people in this room, but hey, how you doing, my man?
I'm good, man. I'm burned. I'm like, we've been here all week making videos, but it feels good. I made new friends. Have never met you before.
Absolutely, it's a pleasure to meet you, man. It's been great. You know, I was saying earlier to someone that it'd be interesting to see how the videos, how we look on Monday. Today's the last day. So
Yeah.
see how we looked on Monday to today, and like the bags with like 3 or 4 hours sleep, whatever it is, you know, slowly coming down. You know what I mean? But it's been fun. You had a good time. Any standout moments so far?
I had a really fun time today because I did a bass lesson kind of geared towards bass for guitar players, because every guitar player is like, oh, bass, that's easy. It's the bottom 4 strings of the guitar
really
tuned down an octave.
Yeah.
But it's not. Yeah, it's like really a different mentality, obviously, you know, and once you start really thinking about it, and completely different thought process, as well as just all the techniques, like right-hand technique and stuff.
Yeah, it's actually, I look forward to seeing that, because sometimes when I've been like doing some recording sessions and they say, can you do some bass? And I automatically think, oh, shit, and I hate saying no. But I'm not a great bass player.
So you
know?
probably suffer maybe from a little bit of the same thing I do, which is like a little lack of confidence, even though you could probably do it. You know, you could play with a pick probably and come up with a cool part and stuff. But then when it comes right down to it, when you really know great bass players, it's like,
well, this is it. And I always feel like, oh, could you, like when you hear a bass player kind of go off on one, it's like, oh, it sounds like Divinity right when she's playing.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh man, it's so cool, you know.
Yeah.
And I try and do that, and I feel like I'm overplaying. With guitar, I'll happily just sit on a note, and I'm confident with that.
Yeah.
But with bass, I always feel if I try and do something, cool, quote unquote, I end up overplaying, and it just muddles it up.
Yeah, I tend to play really simple on my recordings because I play bass on all my demos and stuff.
I would say, of course, yeah.
Yeah.
So you're very at home.
So I tend to, you know, I love it. I actually really enjoy it. It's like a different, I've grown to really enjoy it and get into the different thought process. So being here this week at Warwick, well, actually, this started a year ago. I ordered a bass a year ago.
Yeah.
And for a couple different reasons, it kind of got lost in the shuffle and never happened. And then I contacted them when I was coming back this year and said, hey, remember that bass? And they were like, oh my God, right? And because we both kind of dropped the ball on getting the order through and getting it happening. So they said, well, why don't we finish it for you? And it'll be ready by the time you get here.
Yeah.
Well, I got here on Monday, and it was actually not quite done, but it was ready for finish.
Yeah.
And so it was actually better because I was able to take part in the finishing, so I did the staining on it myself.
So I was seeing your Instagram, like you were saying that you showed me, and that, and it looks amazing. And to have that personal touch, like this is mine. You know what I mean? It's because we're sensitive souls, us guitar players, and we actually get really attached to these, don't we? You know, so having that kind of, I just saw it, man, it looks absolutely amazing.
Oh, it's great. And a couple of the bassists I was working with earlier, Jamie from the bassist.net, as well as Adam Neely, you know, they're both great bass players.
Oh,
and
amazing,
they both played it, and they were like, oh my God, this
thing
is
awesome.
Yeah,
well, there you go then.
So, you know, there's artistry, obviously, in music and in guitar playing and in bass playing and all that stuff, but there's also artistry in the build of the instruments. These people are artists as well. You know, there's a lot of heart and soul put in, and so, you know, to be able to take part in that finishing and you know, watch them sanding it and stuff like that, and then all the whole process and the setup process and how much care these guys take and time. They're all incredible at what they do, and there's a lot of art involved, I think. So anyway, it was really nice. So I'm making a video about kind of the building of the bass, as well as the bass lesson that'll be kind of geared specifically towards not really beginners, more like guitar players that want to get some bass chops going. Because maybe that's something that people will find useful out there, you know?
I will. Yeah. I certainly will. I look forward to that, man. Well, from bass to, I suppose you should talk about guitar as well, and music in general, you know, because, you know, great musician, great guitar player. And it's funny, isn't it? Because how do you view yourself? Do you see yourself as a guitarist or a musician?
You know, I was thinking about that the other day.
You know what I mean? It's an interesting one to...
Yeah, it started with music, for sure.
Yeah.
And my love of music. And then I had a love of the guitar after that. I think primarily what I am now is the primary thing is music and music production, songwriting, music production, with the guitar as the primary vehicle of choice for what I'm doing. But I love the whole process of writing hearing the music and then having it trying to realize it and make it come to life through the guitar.
Absolutely.
So maybe it's music first and songwriting and production sort of takes the because that without music, I figure what's the point of the guitar?
The point? Absolutely. Well, what's the classic saying? Like the biggest ego should be the song. In the room, so to speak.
I like that. Yeah.
Because a lot of time, we all hone our chops on, and I'll be speaking to you about that in a minute. I'm very intrigued about your playing and stuff. But when it comes to the song, I remember, not to talk about my own stuff, but I remember I released one of my own songs a couple of years ago, and a few people said, "Where was the guitar solo?" I was like, "Well, the song didn't need it." So just because I'm known as a guitar player, you don't want to be over something going, really slow, a little tune or something, so you kind of want to play to the song, and I suppose the session head comes on, where you're playing parts or whatever, so yeah, it's intriguing. I think the best, we think of ourselves guitar players, but musicians, who happen to play the best instrument around,
Yeah, the guitar is a very expressive instrument. We're
Absolutely
lucky to play it. It's great. But yeah, I really have a love of maybe not a lot of people would know, but I really appreciate folks like Johnny Marr and who really speaks through the instrument, through creating really great parts and textures. Great guitar parts, but they're just so damn musical.
Yeah.
And that's the thing that
How Soon Is Now of the Smith is. Everyone goes on about, but it's just that beginning, It's
well, that's an incredible the tones and the and that become part of the music, and that's almost like the edge, like with the effects becoming a big part of. But some of the other things he's done as well, I love watching YouTube videos of how because I'm coming to him late and realizing how amazing he is and stuff, but there's a lot of great. Videos of him performing, classic parts he's come up with. Or something. Well, this is how I did it, and with
he turns the effects off. It's like, but he puts it all together, and it's like a bit like an orchestra, isn't he?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He kind of it just lays it up, and he knows his pedals so well.
He does.
And, he's and it's not just for the sake of having pedals. He uses his pedals are an instrument, aren't they? You know what I mean? Like that.
Yeah, definitely. And he kind of plugs in through clean amps like Fenders and stuff, and then uses. And I've seen some recent stuff where he's switched to using a Boss multi-effect thing and stuff
really?
for ease. And he went through, and there's some great videos online. Maybe you can find them, put them in the description below. But there's videos of him using the Boss unit and how he's talking about duplicating his pedal rig with that, and how he feels like he can get very, very close.
Yeah.
So anyway, so I love that aspect of it, and I still love. I grew up. Well, my first love was The Who and the Beatles and stuff like that, and then I developed an appreciation for hard rock and stuff through my sister because she was listening to that.
That's cool.
Everything from Sabbath to Thin Lizzy to Judas Priest and stuff like that, early Metallica and stuff. And then after that, not too long after that, after picking up the guitar, it was the dawn of kind of Eddie had happened, and then Steve Vai and
that must have been so cool to. I mean, when was this you talk? Did you hear Van Halen 1? Was you with it?
No, I would be I was a little too young for that, but I came into listening to music really seriously probably around 81, and then by 82 or 83.
So they were still at their peak, weren't they? There, so I imagine hearing that for the first time, I was like, what the hell is this? Because there was no one before him really. Because it's weird. I was again talking to someone. Van Halen wasn't super big in the UK. Like Jump and. It's got what it takes, so tell me why can this work? I don't know what that's saying. But that's the only, I would say, still played on the radio, those two songs, you know. But in the States, they were, Coldplay, if you were, they were huge, weren't they, back then, So.
Yeah, they were definitely one of the biggest rock bands in the world at that point, I saw them on the '84 tour for the first time, and so that was epically great. But yeah, I loved Eddie.
Yeah.
And for me, I'm not really. I went down the road of kind of the technical, shredder working on technique. But to me, Eddie is kind of actually about as much technique as I need, in a song, in song format. I love his. That's his brilliance and his kind of avant-garde style, and his chops are about. That's about as far as I need to as far as the technique. Does that make sense?
I know exactly what you're talking about. Yeah.
I know there's some players that are just incredible that can go way beyond maybe what he did speed-wise and stuff like that even, but very few to me touch on his musicality and his songwriting and his the whole package, the rhythm guitar. with Eddie was exceptional. You know, his
Absolutely.
rhythm playing was like, you know, much like Billy Gibbons. It wasn't just the well, there was a real sophistication in what he was playing, but it was also in his groove and the duration of the notes, not just when he hit the notes, but how long he held them for and then cut them off.
Well, it's groove, isn't it? And a lot of people kind of miss the mark with that. You know, and when you're saying about the speed thing, again, you know, especially when you're a younger player and you see these amazing players, you know, like Eddie Van Halen, and then of course, you know, you come across someone like Paul Gilbert and stuff like, oh my God, you know what I mean? Like picking, and then all the other guys. But there were certain players who just did speed for speed's sake, and they didn't have that. It didn't hit you in a certain way. Then when you heard someone like Paul or Eddie, or even not necessarily, when you hear Stevie Ray Vaughan for the first time, it's like, what is it? And it's that certain things certain players have, you know.
Eddie's like, if I take, I'll see if I can play it right now. I'm even having a hard time because you got to swing it so hard, you know. And it's like, I could stand to practice that, right? I love that swing and the amount of groove that he had in his.
What song is that one called?
That's
I'm probably gonna know it. I just can't think of the name of it.
Beautiful Girls.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah, it's Beautiful Girls.
That's wicked, man. That's what I should say. We both just picked up a guitar off the wall, which is kind of weird, isn't it?
Yeah. But and then so you got his harmonic sophistication on things like. You know, that stuff with all those great chords, which you weren't really hearing people do so much in rock music.
No, not at all. Not at all. There's some sexy little chords in there. Yeah. You can use them even clean and get some lush stuff happening and stuff like that.
Yeah, I mean, he would do, even with distortion, he'd do a lot of the open drony, you know. And so with that, like,
that sounds right,
yeah, right. You know, and the way he would play it. And screw up the harmonics. That's why he's so brilliant.
Yeah, and you know what as well, like with tone and stuff, you know, not having load of gain. If you've got load of gain, you can't really get away with all those strings ringing out, can you?
Yeah, I mean, by then he was using, I guess that was Van Halen too, so he was using his sort of sound changed a little bit. I've got my theories on how that happened.
I'm sure you do, yeah.
But yeah, it was a little cleaner at that point, and yeah, it just sounded like cranked old Marshall. With, that's what it was, but his. That feel, if you can practice, I mean, you know, I mean, I have to sit here and because I don't quite have it right now. You know,
I need to listen. I have to listen to the song now, and I'm not aware of the song.
And then this part. There's so much swing.
Absolutely.
And it's the duration of. And it's just so funky.
Yeah,
there's a scene in the Michael Jackson movie.
Moonwalker, that one?
This Is It.
This is it. Yeah.
And he's explaining to one of the musicians in the band, I think it's the bass player, he's explaining the bass part.
Right.
And it's really cool because you realize some of his brilliance in that moment where he goes back to the guy and the guy's like, he's playing it, and he's like, it's not quite there or whatever, and the guy's playing it, he says, and he says something really respectful, but he's like, yeah, with love, man, like he says, yeah, but he's like, you know, don't take offense, I think he's what he's trying to say, but it's more like, and he sings the part to him, and you're like, oh man, that is funky. Like when he's singing it, and he's got this awareness of the swing and the funk.
But like, I'm sure, have you heard like the Beat It version? His demo tape of Beat It, and he's literally beatboxing the whole thing.
Oh, I haven't. Oh, I'd love to hear that.
I think it's on the This Is It album. Like they had like the B side and the bonus.
Oh, I gotta hear that.
And like, I want to be starting something, and I think Janet and one of his other brothers or sisters like little jam jars. And then and he's doing all this beatbox stuff.
Wow.
And that's when you realise like the genius of Michael Jackson.
Yeah.
You know, he really, you know, everything else aside, you know, him as a musician was just ridiculous.
How funky he was.
He
and how,
was,
and
yeah.
how talented. Yeah, he had a really amazing skills.
Like the Beat It riff, you know, that isn't a guitar player. I can't obviously Steve Lukather played it, but I'm pretty sure, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, that Michael Jackson sung that riff to him probably. It sounds very vocal.
Yeah, I don't know.
You know what I mean? And
yeah, it's a good question.
It's not really a standard, you know, guitar player riff, is it? You know, it's something down because the intervals down, isn't it? You know, because that's the thing, vocals, and it's interesting as a songwriter as well. Interesting to find out, not necessarily coming up with parts on the guitar.
Yeah.
Because obviously we know our boxes and all this kind of, you know, pentatonics or modes or whatever, know all that rubbish. You know, good rubbish. But you know, singing stuff and little da 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 whatever.
Yeah.
Because you're not thinking of this. You know, you can go into Valak all over the place or whatever. You know.
Yeah.
And so when you take someone like Michael Jackson, that's what he's doing. You know, he's saying to the guys in the shoot, no, da da da, or whatever it is. You know. Or the beatboxing thing, you know, and it's so clever, man, you know. So
yeah, really amazing stuff. I mean, and yeah, Eddie just had a lot, you know, to this day a lot of that brilliance, and so I always just found that fascinating. And you know that funk and swing and stuff like that in a rock context. I mean, you know who else had is. That's the same thing.
Yeah, yeah.
In the duration of. Or, you know. I just love
that absolutely, and that cause it's fun. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know, sitting there and you know, all that stuff. It's like, you know, just sit there and boogie. And that's what it is, you know. And the more you do that, your chops come. Like there, you know, you're picking, you know, you're constantly, you know, it's going all the time, isn't it?
Yeah, and the vocal is in between the riff. So the riff is so cool that he just lets it breathe, you know. Well, this is, you know. I was born my papa's son, when hit the ground, I was on the run. You know, so the riff is, and so, you know, with that, the riff and then the vocal and the riff and the vocal, you know, so brilliant. But the groove, man, it was so like that little boogie groove, you know.
I just go back and listen to some Van Halen. You know, I know,
this is Billy, right? Billy Gibbons.
That's Billy Gibbons, but I'm talking about the same kind of thing. Yeah. You know, it's that funky. I love all that stuff, you know. And of course, you had other back. You know, Bettencourt comes to mind, obviously. From the band. No, but the same thing. I mean, he's super funky, you know.
Yeah.
And there's a monster player anyway, but.
High level functioning. Yeah,
right.
All that stuff. Yeah.
So you definitely taken that Eddie influence, hasn't he? You know, and you can take it from Billy and stuff like that.
Yeah, yeah.
All those guys, you know, it's all about the groove. It's all about the groove
and
being in the pocket and
a great riff and part, and then letting that part speak, and then letting the vocals speak. And you know, I was talking to Rick Beato the other day, And he brought up this great point, which was we were talking about like if anything's missing these days, because there's a lot of great guitar players out there right now.
There's one or
really
two,
great.
There's one or two.
Yeah. So what's missing? And he said, well, you know what I think is missing is that it used to be Joe Perry and Steven Tyler, or Eddie Van Halen and David Lee Roth, or
Robert
Mick Jagger,
Plant, Jimmy Page,
Keith Richards, Robert Plant, Jimmy Page. There was always a singer that was associated with those great guitar players. You know, there's a lot. You got to be a real standout guitar player, a Satriani or a Steve Vai, you know, to do the instrumental thing and really break through. And there's maybe only so much, you know, I don't want to say market, but you know, interest. But once you combine a terrific guitar player, terrific instrumentalist or musician of any kind with somebody that can really sing, now you've really got something, you know. And maybe that's what I'm missing these days. And I really hope a lot of these killer guitar players that I see out there right now can pair up with a great singer. One guy I can think of that, and I've told him this too, we went out for lunch one day, and I said, you know, you got to make a great record with, that's the next thing, and it's Matthias Assato.
Oh my God.
Unbelievable. So
unbelievable guitar player.
He's probably working on some music with a great singer or something now. I certainly hope so, because I just think, wouldn't we love to see him in a fantastic band?
Yeah.
With a great singer and drummer and
I
keyboard
mean,
player.
I don't know about yourself.
You know.
I'm, like I say, Steve Vai, Satch, you know, all that.
Yeah.
Phenomenal players, you know, or Jeff Beck. It was Jeff Beck.
Yeah.
But I mean, I'm not a massive fan of just instrumental music.
Yeah.
You know, I like a song, and like you say, a singer and stuff like that. So someone like Matthias, who's unbelievably good guitar player. It annoys me actually, because I've been playing guitar longer than he's been alive.
Yeah.
Well, you know what I mean? It's like you're so good. You know what I mean?
He's
But,
incredible, man.
you know,
He's really incredible. I just want to see him in a band.
yeah, in a band with a singer,
Yeah.
and then you can still do his stuff, and like you say, find that partner in crime, so to speak. You know.
Yeah, just some terrific, you know, other folks that he can make music with. So I hope that happens. But you know, I think that's maybe what with a lot of the kind of the it's the only danger of the Instagram, YouTube. People sitting there making music on their own and blowing you away with their skill. That's awesome, but maybe it's folks not getting in the room enough together and playing music.
Yeah.
That would be one of my fears, is that I hope that everybody's not getting so insulated in their little home studio or whatever that they're not getting out of the house and going to play with some other folks. Now, Matthias, he does all kinds of touring gigs and stuff.
Of course,
he's always, you know, out playing with other people, so I'm sure he's got that covered. But I hope to see some great records from some of these folks with singers and stuff, because that's really what I think. Yeah. You know, will keep the guitar out there as a prominent force in popular music. If you know, there's some people writing some songs with it, and the guitar takes a little backseat to the vocal for a minute, you know. And
absolutely.
And stands out when I don't know.
It's like the little things, like you saying about the Billy Gibbons and stuff. You know, the little things while the singer's playing, just little parts here and there. It's like, oh, what pricks the ear up.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, oh yeah, that's lovely. You know, if it's just guitar all the time, it's like, all right. But no, if you're playing along to the melody of the song, you know, the singer's singing a line, whatever, and then you put those, like the Beatles, they'll do a little part just once in a song, and it won't be used again. It's like, even like go back to Buddy Holly or something like that. It'd be like one, like, or chord, like what's it, the Eagles song on Take It Easy. I think it's all G, D, C. Yeah. And then the last verse is G, D, A minor 7. And I love that. You know what I mean?
One little thing.
Oh yeah, it could again. Just keeps it. No, keeps the listener there. It's like.
I really love songs that it can be one little thing. Another one you made me think of is "Yellow" by Coldplay. Yeah. You know, that first hit. Yeah. You know how it does the "Look at the stars, look how they shine for you," and that's the minor chord that time. So how? Look at the stars, and how they shine for you, and everything you do. That's the regular verse. Yeah. The last verse is "Look at the stars, and how they shine for you." Or
it does shine. I know exactly what you're talking about.
Oh, that's what it is.
There we go.
G minor, right?
Yeah.
Just once, it's so. Right, it's something like that.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I love that G minor when it rolls around. It's just like, oh yeah, man.
That's what it's about, you know. Just again, I was quite pricking it like a cat. Oh, what's that? Yeah. You know what I mean? What's that? You know, and again, if it was an instrumental, of course they can still do it with instrumental and stuff, but it's a vocal melody, a song. Well,
so that's a good example of it's the same melody.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
And the way that note sounds over top of either the minor chord or the major chord is really fascinating to me. And so if you take the Beatles, got kind of a weird tone for what I'm doing right now, but it doesn't matter. It's not important. Right? She loves you, yeah, yeah, yeah. She loves you, yeah, yeah, yeah. She loves you, yeah, 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 yeah. Right? You've got the same. You've got the same melody over top of. It could be any chords, and just experiment with the different chords. With a great melody, you can play all kinds of chords underneath it, and it'll have a different emotional impact.
Absolutely.
I find that stuff endlessly fascinating.
Yeah, I do. And you kind of want, I'm going to nick that idea and do that myself. You know, that's going to change something. And you know, honestly, man, I can talk about this stuff all day.
Yeah, me too. Me too.
It's important. It's really important. You know, and you know, the more stuff you pick up, when you get all these fancy chords, all these different names and things like that. But a lot of times they're just moving their fingers or something. It's like, oh, that works. And things like that.
Yeah, and you end up stealing things. I wrote this song for my clinic tour. I've been doing some clinics in Europe and in Canada and stuff like that. And I wrote this song, and it starts off with this thing that sounds like. And over that, I play that little melody, okay? Yeah. Well, once I realized that, I was like, well, this reminds me of something, and what is it? And I was like, right? It's the same thing, really. That descending.
Yeah.
And then the other one is, I don't want to leave her now. You know I believe her now. But it doesn't really sound exactly like Stairway or like something, that part, It's got its own thing going on because of the little, the ninth. There's enough things that are different about it.
Well, I wouldn't have picked it up until you've said it, so there you go, it works. You know what I mean? It's only when you dissect something, it's like, oh yeah, it's that, but you as the writer know, so you can have a little smirk while you're doing it or something.
But the thing that I learned out of that too that's interesting is Stairway to Heaven's got the same thing going on as something. It wasn't just me that was stealing from. I was like, wait a minute. You could easily, I don't want to leave it now. I believe in now, right? I don't want to leave her now.
Well, I didn't.
I know I believe in how.
What's the song? Oh man, I think Clapton did it on. What's that song of his? Standing at the crossroads.
Oh, there you go.
Is it B minor? You know what I mean? So they're all nicking off each other.
It's all been done.
If they know it or not, kind of thing. But it's like how many times a C, F, and G. Being used, or you got C, F, and G, like a Rolling Stone, and then C, G, and F. What's the song? I've had Jack and Diane. It's those three chords, but it's the melody line, isn't it? Be it guitar or vocal. It's like, and that's what's great about music. You can just have a different melody line over the chords, like you say. And bang, become a millionaire.
Yeah, bang, become
a millionaire. It's that easy, really, isn't it?
Yeah, it really is. Well, these are just chords, and then it really is the melody you sing on top. And once again, if we get back to the something analogy, or sorry, to the She Loves You analogy, it really is just. I find that fascinating. She loves you, yeah, yeah, yeah. She loves you, yeah, yeah, yeah. Over an H7, she loves you, yeah, 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 yeah. I just think that the way that little melody has a different emotional impact over a different chord is really fascinating. To me, there's like a few different kinds of songwriting. Like a Rolling Stone it's got a great melody and stuff, but it's really a lyrical, it's got a great chorus melody too. It really I'm almost using a bad example here, but what I was going to say is that's very lyric based, you know?
Yes.
Because it's almost sort of very spoken word almost, right? How's it go? What are the chords?
D minor.
So
D minor, E minor, F,
G.
Oh.
How does it feel to be on your own?
I got you.
With no direction home. Oh, so then you're gonna go find a school's alright.
Yeah.
But you know that you only used to get juiced in your head. Nobody ever taught you how to live it on the street. Now you're gonna have to
I'm trying to
as you stare into the vacuum of his eyes, and you say, do you want to make a deal? How does it feel? How does it feel to be on your own with no direction, like a complete unknown? Whoops. Look at you, like a rolling stone. Okay, so that to me is very lyrical based, and the chord movement's cool, but he's kind of just spoken wording it over the chorus.
Yeah.
Great melody too. But I'm gonna
well
call
done,
that.
Bob.
Yeah. He's telling a story, and he sat down and
Absolutely.
played some chords. You know, I could see him writing it. I bet he wrote it all and just like, you know, and then put some chord. I don't know.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
it
yeah.
strikes me as that kind of song, but it's brilliant, right? Then we've got. You know, and to me, Satisfaction is really about the riff. You know, it really is. Kind of just like.
I woke up out of a dream and, you know. Yeah?
You know, you got this great riff, or you know. Oh, why can't I play that? Right, we got those. That's like riff-based songwriting to me. Where I think the riff probably came first.
Oh yeah, I
You
think
know?
that did, and they couldn't get the words or something, the lyric, and they saw a horror film, and someone said, "Well, that's right," you know.
Oh,
and then-
really?
So you got no, what is it? What? Not how it goes, you know. That's it, yeah.
Which is.
Like, oh, I love all that. Yeah,
Which
yeah.
is great. It's
Yeah.
a killer song, but I think the riff drives. Without that riff, you don't have the song. So
Yeah.
to me, that's riff based. To me, "She Loves You" is melody.
Yeah.
She loves you, yeah, yeah, yeah. She loves you, yeah, yeah. She loves you, yeah. So that to me is melody based.
And they seeked out chords, didn't they, the Beatles? Have you heard the story like them finding the third chord? Have you heard that?
No,
So-
but I know where you're going.
You know,
with
yeah.
it.
So, okay, so no, like I think it was Paul and George. I'm not sure, maybe John, but they knew E and A, and they didn't know this third chord. And then so they knew someone like 25 minutes away on the bus knew this secret third chord.
Right.
They went there, they showed them this B7, and then
Yeah.
didn't have their guitars. Ran up to the bus stop, get on the bus, went home. Yeah, boy.
Now we
They
got it.
it.
That's it.
You know, and
Yeah,
I
yeah.
love that. You know, now
Yeah.
it's so easy, isn't it? You type in B, you know,
Sure.
what's the thing, you know. But you know,
Yeah.
I think John said every time he learns a new chord, he'll write a song around it, which is beautiful.
Amazing, yeah.
Which is absolutely beautiful. And then you can see it, the development with them, couldn't you? You know, like you know,
Oh, yeah.
from the beginning. You know, but even what is it? The beginning. Oh, what's that chord? That special.
There's a great video on YouTube.
I know, yeah.
Do you know the one I'm
I'm
talking
sure,
about?
Yeah, I was trying to remember what it was. It's something like that, isn't it? But
Well, I play it like
okay, yeah.
but there's a video on YouTube, I think, and oh God, my tone is so dark. I don't know why, but I'm sorry.
Sounds
but
great.
anyway,
No, it sounds great.
Randy Bachman, and he's so excited about it, like a little kid, and he breaks down the first chord from Hard Day's Night.
Yeah.
And he gets this whole. I think he's with his whole band, and they all play like the different because it's this
They
Pauly
like
thing.
played an F9 and a D sus foot, and then I think Paul played a bass note, a G bass, something like that,
Yeah.
isn't it? You know.
And so he breaks it all down in the
Yeah.
video. So search that out, Randy Bachman, and just search for Randy Bachman and Hard Day's Night, and you'll find it. But I loved as he's describing, he's like, "Isn't this cool?"
It's the
like,
coolest thing in the world, yeah.
Yeah.
But again, back like what we were saying a minute earlier on, you know, like that's only used. Oh no, it's used at the end of the song as well, isn't it? Is that, am I right? I think it's been so long since I heard it. I just think at the beginning, dang.
Well,
oh
the
no, they kind of
end-
play it like
Right.
something like that, isn't it? Yeah. That's right. Yeah. So it's kind of
the
the
end.
chord, but you know,
Yeah.
it's still what an opening.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Oh,
It's
it's just
here's
like,
the song.
we've arrived. It's amazing. It is the song. It's amazing, you know. So I think there's riff-based songs. I think there's kind of melody-based songs and lyric-based songs. I think there's like those three different kinds of like there's examples that I can kind of think of all three of those. But when you can tie them all together, now you've got
No, you got it, man.
the biggest. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like, what's a great example of that? Like if
oh man,
you know,
we're on the spot here, aren't we?
I think maybe you know, a song like Dream On or something.
Oh yeah,
you
yeah,
know,
yeah.
Where you've got that incredible composition with the chords moving, and then this beautiful melody comes in on top of that. That's, you know, because the melody's absolutely gorgeous in the verse, and it's sophisticated, you know.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it's great lyrics. You
Yeah.
know? So there you've got the.
And you could go again like with Led Zeppelin. Thank You. That's a really pretty song. I really like that. And
yeah, and it's a great sort of riff. You know?
Look at, he's on it. He's on it.
Which is a riff in and of itself, I think, even though it's not a one-note riff.
You can just imagine them sitting in, like, was it Wales? They did all that stuff, you know, they're sitting with acoustic guitars and doing it, you know.
Yeah, they got some great, I mean... like, that is a great example of a... And then, right? I mean, all that is just like, dude, give me a break. I mean,
see, I can't remember. I used to learn all that stuff, and it just goes out my head. Your memory's
no,
great.
I'm pretty like that too. I don't have great retention.
Oh really?
Songs.
Okay.
Yeah,
well,
I don't. It comes in one ear, and I'll learn it for a show or a set.
Yeah, and then it's out.
It's gone, and I got somebody be like, "Oh, can you play?" Like Rick said to me the other day, Rick Beato. He said to me, "Here, can you play "Burden in My Hand," which is a song I used to do with Chris Cornell, Soundgarden song. I have no idea how to play it right now.
Yeah.
I would have to go back. I learned it. I've played it 300 times.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
But it's a specific tuning with certain, you know, interesting string gauge. I can't play it right now.
And it's annoying. I remember learning, oh God, years and years, the Rain song.
Oh,
I
yeah,
just love that. It's beautiful. I love that.
Yeah.
And it's in, I forgot what tune it is.
I know that one.
Yeah, see, I used to play it all the time, and I just stopped for some reason, you know, and then I'd have to go back and listen to it.
Okay,
you know.
let's do the Rain song, just for the hell
of
it.
You got it?
Just for the, well, I'll go to the clean channel here, and so check out how cool this is. So the first thing you do is you tune your B string up to C. Okay? So the B string goes up a half step, but then the high E string, I believe, is going to go down to... No, I've already screwed it up. Wait. We'll see. I know what the low strings are, though. So this goes down a whole step. A string goes down a whole step.
Guitars, eh?
And I think this does go down. I think. Which is like, I don't even have the great tone for it right now.
Oh man, I'm loving it right now. I can't stop smiling.
So, love it. You know, it's so good. Oh God, it's so good.
It's so good.
And once you learn the tuning, so the tuning is the bottom 3 strings go down a whole step.
Okay.
The G string is the G string, B goes up to C, and then the high E string goes down to D. Okay, so that's the tuning if anybody wants to learn it. And just check out the little chord shapes. This is like your standard sort of, looks like a little major triad. Then you make it a minor triad, and then you just do these little... And then this is just... This guitar is a little bit hard to play.
Okay, so that's
Jimmy
the Rain song.
Page, eh?
Yeah, it's so beautiful, that song. And it's just that song. Okay, so it's in another class all itself because yes, there's lyrics in it and they're cool and the melody's cool. It's almost an afterthought.
Yeah, yeah.
And it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
I think it's an afterthought.
No, I see what you mean, and which goes against everything I was saying about instrumental music, because that you can just, it's so beautiful. It's such a beautiful part.
Beautiful.
And then the lyrics come in, and
it's supplemental. You know,
all the lyrics they was it Lord of the Rings type lyrics they did, all that, you know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, it rocks. Robert Plant rocks at the end and the stuff.
He does all right. Yeah. You know.
The body of the tune kind of goes by with the really amazing things being the composition that's going on.
Absolutely.
So anybody that doesn't appreciate Jimmy Page, give me a break.
Yeah,
you know, it's just
get out of here.
Yeah.
Jersey kind of thing.
I wrote some stuff with this tuning that because it's so
really,
much fun. Yeah, I remember doing this thing that went. Something like that. No, yeah. Because it was just such a fun tuning. So no. We gotta find the. A singer I was working with downtown, I remember the singer I work with had this great lyric. This is 25 years ago. I remember writing this thing, but so anyway, it's a really fun tune. It's certainly not the friggin' Rain song that I came up with.
No, but it's changing it up, getting away from the standard.
Yeah, stuff, I mean, you can just now I have no idea what's going on. You know. Interesting voicings like that. I'm out of tune, but hopefully the people out there don't care.
It's rock and roll, man.
Because
don't worry about that.
You know what I mean? Like for getting excited about a tuning and just having you can hear the that's a great chord voicing. And it's kind of like that one from the Rain song. Sorry, I got excited about it.
Man, you know what? This is the last video of GitCon for me anyway. I don't know if you've got any more.
No,
this has been great. I've loved it. It's been so fun. Like, I think this could go for another hour.
Oh, thanks, man.
But I can already see we're running out of time.
You probably want to. She probably wants to go to dinner.
But Pete, tell me about it. I can already feel the stomach going.
Yeah.
But honestly, Pete, this has been great. It's been lovely hanging out with you this week.
So much
really
fun.
Has,
yeah, man.
I look
pleasure.
forward to doing. Hopefully, we get to hang out again more in the future.
I hope so. Yeah.
But,
I hope so.
I'll put the links to Pete. Everyone knows Pete, but if you haven't subscribed to Pete's channel, he's got quite a good channel.
Please come on over, join me. Lots of gear demos and
Absolutely.
I don't know, lessons and travel logs and whatever I can come up with.
Yeah. No, I've been a subscriber myself for some time, my friend. So you do great. Actually, I remember one of the first ever videos I saw on YouTube. This is going back. I think you do an eruption. Like this is like 2006. Whenever
it was 2008, and
was it 8?
And that
10
video,
years ago. God.
Yeah, I know. It's crazy how long it was, and I realized that video, that it was back in the day when 15-minute videos were all you could do on YouTube. And when I got into doing it, I wasn't going to tab it out or whatever, and I was like, oh my God, how am I going to do all this with 15-minute videos? And I figured out I had to do 5 videos in order to stuff it all.
That's right. It was a few parts, wasn't it? That's right.
So I did it, and then I put it out, and about a year later, I was in Lisbon, in Portugal, and I was walking down the street, and a guy walked up to me and he poked me. He goes, "You taught me how to play Eruption."
Yeah,
and that was one of my biggest YouTube kind of. The light bulb went on.
You still got it? It's still on your channel, yeah? Still up
It's
there?
still on my channel, yeah.
There you go.
Yeah, it's on my channel. It was I shot it on my iMac, 2006 iMac through the camera.
Yeah, I didn't know that.
So it looks it's like probably 360p max.
That's 10 years ago, isn't it?
But the audio's good. I did the audio by running
Was it in your like living room?
Yeah, I was just in my little where I was living, you know. And I did the audio by running a microphone. How the hell did I? Oh, I remember. I had my laptop with my little audio interface, and I took a stereo out of that, and then I ran that into the iMac and recorded a mic in the iMac at the same time, so I could get a mic on my voice as well as the guitar sound in stereo.
Brilliant.
So it was two computers hooked up together.
I thought that. Yeah.
It was just like however I can come up with it, but it was, and that's why sometimes if you watch it, like the voice is not at a good mix with the guitar because it was very raw the way I was doing it.
Nah, I remember that was one of my first ever, not first, but certainly up there. I remember that being one of the early YouTube videos. But I'd heard your name like from I think Guitar World magazine. I think you wrote a comment for that. You know, so it's an honour to meet you and hang out with you, man.
Pleasure,
and plus you're a true gentleman, honestly.
Thank you.
Pete Thorn, ladies and gentlemen.
Thanks, guys.
See you soon, guys. Take care. GitCon's finished.
I think it's over. Thanks also to the nice folks that hosted us here this week.
Oh man, Framus and
Warwick. Yeah, thank you very much.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we played some of your guitars today, and you guys have been great hosts. So thank you.
It's been amazing, and to the beautiful sound girl for staying here even longer for us.
Thank you.
Take care,
she's
guys.
over there.
See
You
later.
can't see her, but she's there.
She's lovely. Bye. Awesome, man. That was great. That was fun.
That was really fun. Super fun.
The devil's on my side. Talking to myself.